guys, how's it going? As many of you know, I love a good tag video. I think they're fun, they're chill to film. I really like watching other people's tags, especially older tags, and if it's like an older project, I just think it's so much fun to go back and watch them. And yet somehow, I've never done the main character tag. Even though this was created by the Troublemakers, which is probably the channel that I have the most watch hours on because they do writing live streams all the friggin' time. I think that I just assumed that I had already done it and never realized that I didn't. So we're going to fix that today. Like I said, this was originally created by the Troublemakers. If you're unfamiliar, they do weekly writing live streams. They don't post like normal videos, but Katie, Wallace, and Grape have all done this tag to post on their individual channels, so I'll leave those linked down below. I don't think Stieg ever did one. I never found one, so if he did, I'm sorry I didn't see it. But I will leave their videos down below, as well as the questions if you want to do this tag yourself. These are some kind of different questions to get to know your character outside of the context of your novel. The intention is basically to help people get familiar with your characters in a non-spoilery way. I've mostly been working on Monsters and Imaginary Friends recently, which is 2 main characters, so I'll be answering the questions for Jax, the imaginary friend, and Rablah, the monster in the closet. The first question is a 3-parter, so question number 1, what is your main character's name? How did you as the author choose the name? And how does your main character feel about their name? Jax's name has always just been Jax. I've never given him a last name, and I kind of like the idea that he never had one. I wanted to pick a name that was simple, something that a little kid wouldn't struggle with, and something that sounded like a little bit cool. His vibe is very much like the cool older brother that's going to teach you how to skateboard, and I feel like Jax just kind of suits him. I liked the idea that there was an X in it, because that just seems like a cool kid thing to me. As far as his opinion goes, I feel like he likes his name. It suits him and I don't imagine he's had a problem with it. Rablah technically does have a last name. His full name is Rablah Child Eater. Rablah is a name that I made up when I was like 12 years old. My inspiration was literally that it would be a great name for a bad kid because it's so fun to yell that if the kid was misbehaving, you wouldn't be able to stay mad at them very long. Like imagine yelling at someone named Rablah. Rablah! You know? So the name itself has been floating in the back of my mind for decades at this point, but Rablah is a character that came to me already very fully formed. He popped into my head with a fully formed personality. I could like vividly picture him in my mind, and his name was already Rablah. Like, I feel like I didn't name him, I just discovered him and that was already his name. I feel like he would like his name. I think that he would like that it's unique. There's not a lot of other Rablahs running around. Like, Jax doesn't have a last name, Rablah doesn't need a last name. Like, you would say Rablah, and everyone would know that you're talking about him, and I think he likes that. But I also have the feeling he would hate if anybody tried to shorten it or give him a nickname. I think that he would get really annoyed with that. Question number 2, what is your main character's zodiac sign? Even if they live in a fantasy world, everyone has a vibe. This is not something that I am good at. I only know a few of them. I don't really have a great sense of like people's signs and stuff like that. So I have an answer, but I'm only partially committed to it. Jax definitely feels like a water sign to me. I think that Pisces might fit. He's sensitive, he's compassionate, he's very creative. Hi Ripley. He's maybe a little indecisive, a little too trusting. Like, he's all heart. Rablah is definitely a fire sign. I'm leaning towards Aries. Leo was a strong contender, but I feel like Aries is more like assertive. I feel like Leos are almost a little bit warmer, and Rablah is definitely not. Rablah's rough around the edges, but if you give him a chance, he will burn the world down for you. So, you know, whatever that means. Question number 3. What is your main character's relationship to the person or people who raised them? Parents aren't super common in their world. I'm not going to get all super into the lore right now, but the closest thing to like a parental figure to them, for both of them, would be the chief. Jax definitely looks up to the chief. He sees her as a very respected authority figure. He looks up to her. I feel like she's someone that he would go to if he needed someone to talk to, advice, something like that. I feel like he's a little bit afraid of disappointing her, but he trusts her to be able to help him out. Rablah's the kind of person who would definitely butt heads with authority figures, but he does respect the chief. He just won't say it to her face. He complains about her, he thinks that she has too many rules, that she's too like rigid, but he really loves arguing with her, pushing her buttons, and he really admires that she's able to keep up and like fight back with him. He's a little menace, but she has a soft spot for him, and even though he would never admit it, he does admire her. Question number 4. What is your main character's most important memory prior to the start of your book or series? I feel like Jax's would just be something with Joey. I feel like it would be something that would seem really simple. Like, you know those days that you just had a really fun day. Like, nothing big happened, there was no big moment, but you just look back and you think, like, that was a nice day. I feel like Jax's would be a moment like that with Joey. Like, a day that just feels special, but for no specific reason. For Rablah, what's the wording on the question? Most important memory, not favorite memory. Because my first instinct is that it wouldn't be something good. I feel like Rablah's the type of person who doesn't hold happy memories too close because he doesn't want to examine them and find all the flaws in them. Like, he's someone that if something nice happens, he's going to immediately ignore it so that he doesn't somehow taint it or ruin it or something like that. Like, that, I feel like, would be his perspective. So I think the memory that would feel the most important to him would be like a time that he let somebody down, or a time that he was a disappointment, some mistake he made. And again, I don't know if it would actually be something big, but it's something that he feels is big, or that he's like built up in his mind so much. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a bummer answer, but it would be some moment that he let somebody down and hasn't forgiven himself for. Question number 5. Your character walks into a library. What section do they head to first? Jax would want like comic books, really action-packed graphic novels, something that feels very like exciting. He's kind of a nerd about action movies, so I feel like he'd be into pretty much anything with superheroes, anything like high action, excitement, explosions, that kind of thing. I feel like he would like epic fantasy in theory, like a really long adventure-filled quest. I think that he would like the idea of that. But he's someone that just has his head in the clouds a lot, and a lot of high fantasy just requires a lot of focus sometimes to read, and I feel like that's not fun for him. So I feel like he would like something that's a little bit punchier, maybe a little bit shorter, and I feel like he's very visual, so I think he would enjoy like a comic book, a graphic novel, something with illustrations. Rablah would like mysteries, like a psychological thriller, that kind of vibe. He really likes solving puzzles, he's quite clever, so I think that he would just find it fun to follow along with the mystery and try to guess. I feel like he would be quite arrogant about it. I feel like if he guesses it wrong, he'll blame the author, he'll say there's not enough clues, that kind of thing. If he gets it right, you'll never hear the end of it. He's the kind of guy that's gonna brag about how quickly he guessed the plot twist. I also get the feeling that he would love science fiction, like just a big, chunky, dense, like overly descriptive science fiction that's just so nerdy. I feel like Rablah would really love that, but he wouldn't admit it. Question number 6. Would your character survive the Oregon Trail, and how? I'm gonna be honest, I'm not familiar with this reference. I never played the games, I've never had an interest in American history. I vaguely know what it is, but not any specifics. So I'm just gonna say that based on the stuff they survive in the novel, they'd probably survive. They do okay. They've survived worse. That's the best answer I can give, I'm sorry. Question number 7. What would your characters ask for if they made a deal with the crossroad demon? Now this is what I'm familiar with. I don't know if either one would. Well, okay. Jax is a notorious rule follower. He tries not to get into any trouble. He tries not to stray too far from the path. He definitely wouldn't make a deal with the crossroads demon unless it was to save someone else. If this was his last resort to save someone else, he would take whatever deal the demon offered. And he doesn't even have the street smarts to like negotiate a deal. He would just tell the demon, Joey's in trouble, please save him. The demon will say, I'll do it for this, and Jax will just say done. But outside of that, he would stay so far away from that. Rablah, on the other hand, is smart enough to know that it's a horrible idea. He's smart enough to realize, you know, this is setting himself up for failure, it's gonna backfire, it's gonna blow up in his face. But he's arrogant enough that he would want to know if he could outsmart the demon. He's someone that can never resist pressing the big red button. I feel like he would do it just to try to find some loophole, trick the demon into a paradox, something like that. I don't think he would succeed. Like, he's clever, but he's not that clever. He can't outsmart a demon. So it would certainly backfire, but I feel like he would try. Like, it would be like a deal for more deals, or a deal to undo deals. Like, he would try to find something, but ultimately he would fail. And question number 8, what will your character think about on their deathbed? Imaginarians don't really age. They've solved most like natural causes of death. They're not technically immortal, like they can still be killed. Anyway, but I'm just ignoring that for the purpose of this question. On his deathbed, Jax would be like smiling at a highlight reel full of laughter. He would be thinking about all of the people that he loved. He'd be replaying all of his happiest memories surrounded by all these people. Like, Jax is someone that's very good at appreciating the little moments. And I think that when all is said and done, even if he had regrets, whatever mistakes he made, I feel like he would still just be thinking about every smile he's ever brought to someone's face, any time he's ever laughed with someone he loved. Like, I don't know, I feel like Jax would just die with a smile on his face. Rablah on his deathbed, I feel like he genuinely would let go of everything he's been carrying. I think that he would finally be able to see the big picture and realize how small and insignificant most of his mistakes were. Rablah really is a good person and he is always trying his best. He just fucks up a lot. And I think that he holds on to all of those fuck ups in life. But in the end, on his deathbed, he'll finally be able to just let that go and see how many people he's helped, how many kids he's helped bring out of their shell, like all of the positive impacts that he's made. I think that he would finally see those. I think that he would end up feeling very light and relieved on his deathbed. So I think that, like, his final moment, like his last breath, he would smile. And that was the last question. This was a lot of fun. I really love thinking of characters in just like different contexts, or just thinking of them as their own people outside of the novel. And obviously I adore these characters. Any chance to spend time with them, any excuse to talk about them, I love. If you want to answer these questions, consider yourself tagged. Like I said, they are all in the description below. If you make videos and want to do a video, let me know so I can go and watch it. Or if you just want to answer it in the comments, that totally counts too. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay up to date with the rest of my videos. I post new videos once a week, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!